a submachine gun with almost no equal. Used by over 40 nations and by countless police and law enforcement organizations, H&K's MP5 is an iconic firearm and the most widely adopted SMG ever put into production. Despite a slow start, a tremendous televised event would catapult the MP5 into stardom, cementing its place amongst the greatest firearms ever devised, and leaving no doubt about its effectiveness. Weighing in at 5.5 pounds, this short but effective submachine gun dispenses 9x19 parabellum downrange at up to 800 rounds per minute, moving at 400 meters per second. Despite its compact size, it's still deadly at ranges of up to 200 meters. The origins of the MP5 lay in Germany during the Second World War. Most small caliber firearms at the time relied on direct blowback for their operating mechanisms, as it was the simplest and cheapest method of operation available, but it came at the cost of added weight and recoil. SMGs like the German MP40 and American M1A1 Thompson utilized this method of operation. However, the Germans began experimenting with a roller-locked blowback operation on firearms, developing several roller-locked weapons such as the MG42 in an effort to lower weight and recoil. After the war, German Mauser engineers working in Spain developed this mechanism further, producing the SETME Model 58 using a new roller-delayed operation. The German Federal Police took interest and placed an order for the Model 58 in 1956, but cancelled in favour of the Belgian FN-FAL instead. However, the West German Army maintained interest, pitting the Model 58 against the FAL, Swiss SIG SG-510, and American AR-10, eventually being chosen as the G3 in 1959, and assigned to Heckler & Co. to produce. Encouraged by the success of the G3, H&K made a series of 4 firearms based on the G3 design to fire different calibers: 7.62 by 51mm NATO, 7.62 by 39mm M43, 5.56 by 45mm NATO, and 9 by 19mm Parabellum. Development on the 9mm G3 variant began in 1964 under the designation HK54, and 2 years later was adopted by the German Federal Police, Border Guard and Army Special Forces under the MP5 designation. At the time in the world of the SMG, the Uzi was king, but one event in 1980 would change everything. On April 30th, 1980, 6 armed terrorists entered the Iranian Embassy in London, taking 26 hostages and setting in for a siege. On day 6, the terrorists kill a hostage, forcing the British Special Air Service, or SAS, to carry out a rescue mission before any more hostages could be hurt, codenamed Operation Nimrod. The assault lasts for 17 minutes before 5 terrorists are killed and the final captured amongst hostages. Televised before the entire world, the SAS is catapulted into fame, and the weapon they used, the largely unknown MP5, is brought up with them. In the wake of Operation Nimrod, orders for the MP5 skyrocketed in the West. In the United States, the MP5 became a staple of units such as the Navy SEALs, MUSOC, Delta Force, along with most police SWAT teams. Mexico, France, and even Iran wanted to get their hands on the MP5, and luckily, the MP5 platform had several variants to suit their differing needs. The MP5A1, A2, A3, A4, and A5 differ only in their stocks and firing modes, the A1 being full auto with no buttstock, the A2 being full auto having a fixed stock, the A3 being full auto with a retractable stock, the A4 having a 3-round burst and a fixed stock, and finally the A5 with a retractable stock and 3-round burst. By 1977, the magazines used in the MP5 were improved, and replaced with the now iconic curved magazines. The MP5N was developed specifically for the US Navy in 1983, and features an ambidextrous trigger group, a threaded barrel for suppressors, and a padded retractable stock. The MP5F was developed for the French Army in 1999, featuring a padded retractable stock, ambidextrous sling loops and bolts, and internal modifications to handle high-pressure ammunition. The MP5SD in 1974 with an integral suppressor was produced, and has variants in a similar vein to the original MP5, with various fire selector and stock options. The MP5K, or Kurs, was developed in 1976, the Kurs meaning short in German. It's a shortened version of the MP5A2 with a lighter bolt, meaning that not only is it smaller and lighter, but also has a higher fire rate. Then, in 1992, H&K introduced two new MP5 variants, the MP5-10, chambered in 10mm auto, and the MP5-40, chambered in 40 Smith & Wesson. Both fire different calibers to the other MP5 variants, and are based on the existing MP5A4 and A5 designs, but problems with these two variants led to them being discontinued after 2000. By the end of the millennium, H&K began working on a new SMG to succeed the aging MP5, producing the UMP in 1999, with it entering service in 2000. Cheaper, lighter, more accurate, and able to be converted between its three calibers, 40 Smith & Wesson, 45 ACP, and 9mm by simply changing the barrel, bolt, and magazine. Despite these improvements, the UMP is less controllable in automatic fire, especially with the larger calibers, and its lack of popularity led to H&K stopping production of the 45 ACP and 40 Smith & Wesson models. Both the MP5 and UMP remain in production today. In service since the 60s and still going strong, the MP5 remains an iconic and effective SMG. Other SMGs may be harder hitting or more accurate, but nothing can match the MP5 in models produced, nor its reputation as a firearm. It had a slow start until 1980, when it became the weapon of choice for police and other law enforcement organizations, and the rest is history.